First of all, got to give Coach Rolovich and his staff a lot of credit. Came in, they were better prepared than we were tonight. They played a better football game in all three phases, and you got to give those guys credit. They made more plays. Very disappointing on our side of the coin. Not very disciplined effort tonight. You look at 12 penalties tonight that were drive killers several times on offense, extended drives for them when we were on defense. Special teams created no momentum in special teams. Penalties killed us over and over in special teams. Pretty disappointing effort there in discipline, and that falls on me as the head coach. We got to play more disciplined football. I thought we were a little bit on our heels, early on in the game. Some young guys playing a little bit cautious, making some mistakes. But I thought we settled in as the game went on, but a little bit too late. Didn't quit at the end, but like I told the guys, there are no more victories. We got a short week. We can't feel sorry for ourselves. We got to get up. We got to have a practice tomorrow. We got to get ready to play a CU team for the Rocky Mountain Showdown next Friday on a short week.
Mike, I know with the defensive changes, you probably expected some hiccups, but to you, what faltered most tonight that allowed Hawaii to jump out so fast?
Well, they did a good job keeping us off balance. They were a balanced football team. They were able to run the ball, for 200 yards and throw it for 400. In our 5-man box, they were doing a good job of running the ball. We went to a 6-man box and played single high. They were taking advantage of mismatches in man-to-man coverage. Really. Anything that they did worked. We got no pressure on the quarterback. A couple of times we got pressure. We were able to get a sack and get him down. He was able to break contain. The quarterback counter we had no answer for all night tonight. We fit that wrong several times with our end and our backers not seeing the puller. And then, the little slip screen that they were running, was deadly, 4 or 5 times. And that's, some of that, sometimes the guys trying to be over-aggressive and making a play, and the D-line's got to recognize that, slow down and retrace their steps. And it's kind of what we talked about coming in. It's about, settling down and making that play. And we weren't able to do that when we have a chance to make a sack that could put them behind, the sticks. We missed a sack. We lose contain. Just little things like that happen. We were able to get one turnover. We did pretty decent on third down, but they were able to convert some fourth downs too. That were the difference in the game tonight as well.
Mike, in retrospect, now that you look back about it, do you think you're not being with the team for those 10 days hurt? A lot of people say it's like a substitute teacher being around. There's that little bit of slack off maybe.
That's an easy excuse to make, Kelly. To be honest, it is what it is. I was out. It was unfortunate what I told you when I came back. There's no opportune time for that to happen. You work so hard, and then it wasn't ideal. But it is what it is. I mean, we still had chances to play well this game. That don't cause us to hold. That doesn't cause us to do some things that we did tonight. But ultimately we got to go back to work, and we didn't get it done tonight, and it's disappointing.
Mike, are you surprised, just top to bottom, what happened tonight? Surprised how long it took for the offense to get going, especially?
Well, yeah, the offense got going there in the second half. It wasn't that bad in the first half. You just had the one, you had the one turnover. Had a little bit of pressure, I think. KJ had to get rid of the ball a little bit early on the post, and KJ thought he was breaking inside, and BC ended up taking it over the top, and the ball was thrown inside there. But we were pretty good on third downs there, in the first half. We just didn't convert. We missed 2 field goals, in the game. What we needed to do offensively was to do a better job of controlling the clock a little bit, because we were having a hard time stopping them. We were running the ball decently effective in the first half. And then, we weren't able to kind of control the ground game, and it became one-dimensional. But, that, it happens like that sometimes. Sometimes it's not you expect to go up and down and score every time, but sometimes you got to punt, and sometimes, you turn it over, and that's where the other side of the ball's got to pick you up. And then, defense gets a turnover. That's where the offense has got to pick up the defense and convert right there. We just did not play well together in all three phases tonight at any consistent time, of the game. You have a chance, and then we give up a big play, or we have a penalty on offense.
Coach, McDonald had over 500 total yards without much playing time in the past. Do you think that lack of exposure to him kind of had an effect, or what do you think was the biggest reason for his success tonight?
Well, we got no pressure on the quarterback at all. We never made him feel uncomfortable. And when you don't make a quarterback feel uncomfortable, it's easy for him to get in a rhythm. They got two really good slot receivers in 5 and 6. Had a couple big backs that were hard to tackle, and he never was. They never really were out of rhythm all night. I don't think we got them in any kind of, lost yardage plays that put them behind the chains all night. A couple times we had them in 4th down. Coach went for it down there and converted, which was a big call for them. So he kept the pressure, and they were relaxed and played loose.
How much did it hurt, or how much did you miss not having the ability to be on the field, especially early on when you guys are kind of getting
But
punched on that?
it's going to be hindsight that you're sitting up there and you can't touch guys and you can't look at guys, and you like to think sometimes what you say means something, or you're looking a guy in the eye. That's tough. Being a head coach, or being able to be a common influence for a young guy or a new quarterback or Rashard Ajay or Devin, just basically to encourage. But that was happening all game. It was guys coaching, guys encouraging, guys getting on guys. But you still, I'd like to have been down there to look at guys. Would that have made a difference? That's an easy answer to say yes. But at the end of the day, we got beat. End of the day, I was in the box, and that's how we decided we were going to play this game.
Did Ronnie call plays all night, or did that change at any point in time during the game?
No, Ronnie called plays all night. The whole game. They prepared. He prepared, and things were talked about. But a couple of times questions were asked, and my answer was, "You go with your gut." And I thought when he did, he made the right decision. You don't want a guy looking over, worried about what coach is going to second guess something. And I thought. We got in a rhythm, and him and KJ were in a rhythm there, in the second half, and did some nice things.
Bobo, what did Preston Williams' catch and run that he had, the 69-yard play where he threw 3 guys to the side at the end of the third quarter, what did that do for your offense?
Well, I think it got kind of energized a little bit. Excuse my language, he was playing pissed off right there. And, we weren't playing that way really as a football team. And I thought it got a little bit of an edge for everybody that he was like, I'm not going to be denied. And that's what you got to have sometimes. You got to have that. I'm gonna be the guy that make the play. I'm not going to be denied. And he had a little bit of that on that play. Now, he, looking back on it, as the game went on, he probably played too many snaps. Was a little tired as the game went on. And that's where we got to get the E.J. Scotts and get them some more reps in there. But Warren and BC, they stepped up big and made some big catches. But they were playing a lot of zone coverage, and when you play a lot of zone coverage and rushing 3, they weren't pressuring a lot. We were able to find holes in the zone, and we had some big targets.
Coach saw a lot of missed tackles around the line of scrimmage, like you pointed out a little bit. How do you go about in correcting that this week?
Well, you got to close. You got to see your keys, and you got to pull the trigger quicker. There were times that we, saw what we should be doing, and we were late pulling the trigger, whether we were a safety or whether we were a backer with a guard pulling the trigger and going to make the play. You got a different vantage point when you're kind of up top, watching the game, and you see, hey, what's coming, and we got to pull the trigger. Guard pulls, backers got to go over the top. Supposed to squeeze, we should be squeezing it in. Safety should be filling a couple times. We didn't do those things, and we got to figure out what we can do, all right, where we can play fast and not play on our heels. And we were on our heels, and you got to give Hawaii credit. You got to give Coach Rolovich and his staff credit. They kept us on our heels defensively, and we really, play a 5-man box, we were getting run on. Play a 6-man box, we were getting thrown on.
Coach, obviously KJ had a very good game, but would you say that he temporarily maybe lost his confidence after he threw that interception?
No, I mean, I don't think so. I didn't lose confidence in him. You know, we kept him out there and kept chunking the ball. You know, I mean, I don't think so. I thought he was confident all night. I was listening to him talk to Coach Letson and their communication back and forth, and was into the game the whole time. And you know, him and Coach Letson were talking about how we're going to win this game in the fourth quarter, the whole game. And KJ was right on board. We don't throw bad throws. I mean, we wish, you know, I know we threw for a lot of yards, and I wish he could have, you know, we wish he'd have some of them back. But, I mean, again, that was a little bit of that interception. He's thinking the receiver's going inside, and BC ends up taking it over the top. So, I don't think so.
I know the adage is you make the most improvement from week 1 to week 2, but how much is that squeeze with this being a short week?
Yeah, it's tough. That's what I just talked about with the team. You know, we gotta show improvement. We just played a late game, a late kickoff. You know, it's almost 10 o'clock, and we got to get up. We got to practice tomorrow. We got to prepare for CU on a short week, a rivalry game, and we can sit here and point fingers and say what's wrong and listen to everybody else, or we can come in tomorrow and we can, take criticism. We can look ourselves in the mirror, like I said earlier, as a head coach, as assistant coach, and players, and take ownership. And that's what you do. It's a long season. I still think we got a chance to be a very good football team. But we got a lot of work to do. We got a tough road this week, but it is a rival game. It's something we ought to be excited about playing. I know our fan base is excited about, playing in that game. I know we show up for that game, and we're going to be ready to play on Friday. I guarantee you that.
Obviously, the offense was kind of the focal point in the second half and took a lot of steps forward. Did you feel like the defense took steps forward and maybe did some things that make you excited for next week?
Well, I mean, there's going to be there's obviously, you're thinking of a lot of negatives right now that happen in the game. It's kind of human nature, but there were some positives of getting a couple stops, playing better on third down in the second half, creating a turnover. But then when we needed that critical stop, in that critical juncture of the game, we weren't able to get it, and that hurt us a little bit. So we'll definitely point out the things that we can do better as coaches. We'll admit it to our players and put us in better situation. And as players, we'll point out things that where you had an opportunity to make plays, and then we're going to point out the good things that we did. We still got to harp on the positives because we do have a young football team, but we can't sugarcoat it. Tomorrow, we'll state the obvious, and we'll go to work, and we'll find guys ready to play next week.
Mike, how difficult is it to not look at the next 3 games, just with your schedule with playing 3 Power 5 teams in a row?
I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, I've been talking about that all season. We've been talking about this game, Hawaii, all off season, and I think, to be honest, Matt, for coaches, it's pretty easy. That's what we do. You wake up the next day and you go to work, win or loss. The hard part is your players sometimes, and media wants to talk about, hey, they got these 3 tough games, what's going to happen, and you ask the players the question. So it's our jobs as coaches to constantly remind them that the only thing we got to focus on is this week. But media and everybody wants to talk about what's next, and you got this game, but then you play Arkansas, and then you got Florida, and then you want to talk about, if you don't must win and all that crap. The only thing we got to must do is we got to show up and got to go to work tomorrow.
We saw Cam Butler come out with 3 first down receptions on that first drive, really heavily involved in that first half before he goes down. What did you like about your young tight end, and are there any updates on his status at this time?
I believe he got rolled up there in the ankle. I'm not sure. I haven't got an injury report. He was a cutoff on the backside. It looked like he, where I was sitting, he stopped running his feet. And when you stop running your feet, you get rolled up. But I've told you guys all, preseason, I believe we've got some talented tight ends. It was good to see. It was good to see Cam do some nice things tonight. It was good to see Griffin Hammer come in there and make a big 4th down catch. It was Trey McBride played a lot tonight. Isaiah Panunzio played. We got some talented tight ends, and we just got to figure out, you know, how to utilize those guys, which we did tonight, but I think they'll be a focal point for us, especially when you got those receivers we have on the outside. And we got to get the run game going, you know. Sometimes when you're playing in a game and you get behind, you feel like, you know, you got to panic a little bit. And we didn't panic, but sometimes it's, you know, you can still come back in a game running the ball.
Mike, you talked about Coach Letson calling the plays. At one point when you guys scored twice in a row, you were down 17 and decided to go for 2
Yeah.
at that point. Was that your decision?
That was a dumbass decision by me. That's what that was. And then that new rule of the daggum putting the ball down, should have just took a delay and kicked the extra point. You know, and it's, you know, I didn't know if we were going to stop them, but still, it's a dumb decision. Truthful answer.
Mike, a couple things. You had told us beforehand that we'd see tonight. Obviously, it looked like 2 of your running backs and maybe one of your defensive ends, R.J. Jean, were not available.
Okay, the Marvin Kinsey and Rashad Body were suspended for this game. R.J. Jean was not suspended. He's dealing with some personal problems, and he was here with the team tonight. He's had some time off. I know, you know, one of you guys wrote that y'all saw him out at 48 at practice. He really hadn't been practicing about 3 weeks, so you know, so he hadn't been out there in about 3 weeks dealing with some things, and it was good that he was back with the team tonight.
And then the other thing was Colin Hill cleared to have played if you had needed him.
Colin was cleared to play, but we went into this game that he was going to be emergency only, and that was my conversation with Colin heading into this game. And like I've stated throughout, it's a long season. This guy's got a long career, and I don't want to rush it just to rush it. You know, I mean, he's clear, but I want to see some more things in practice. You know, it would have been an emergency situation.